everyone. Welcome back to Light in the Rain podcast. We are your hosts, Dominique.
And Brady.
I've
Woo!
got it right.
Y'all don't even know
It's all right.
how hard that just was.
But we're here because our podcast allows us to have real, raw, open, honest conversations about loss, grief, hope, dark season, difficult seasons, trusting in God. Did I already say hope? Hope.
You did, but hope, hate, but say it.
Oh. Cheeks, you owe me a soda.
No one says soda anymore. We're in New York. Thank you.
Oh.
No. All right. You did it. We made it through the intro.
Yeah, we're back for episode
Number 6.
6.
All right. We're going to talk about how you want to switch it up.
I don't really want to switch it up. I guess we were kind of going on a timeline. Starting from the beginning of everything with Koleson. But then the way my brain works and what I want, don't laugh at me.
Sorry. I'm still laughing about earlier.
Are we tired or what's going on?
Must be.
What was I saying?
Oh
yeah. So I was I think we should just talk about 2025 and then talk about how the story of losing Koleson, because I just really want to hone in with these episodes on our faith and how God has helped us, and I want to be able to kind of take Bible verses that relate to our life, that hopefully people can make the connection of God and what He's done in our life, and the Word of God and how that relates to life.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, we really should just get to the the hardest part of our journey with Koleson, our life with Koleson. It was 2025 until the day we lost him.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna kind of talk about that. Probably gonna take a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And then in future episodes, we'll be able to really just share the word of God more in those episodes.
Absolutely. I wanted to start with a Bible verse this time.
Go for it.
All right, I'm going to pick up your beautiful pink Bible.
Sounds good.
Okay.
No judging here.
No judging here. All right. I felt this related hardcore to us in 2025. And so I wanted to start with this and then compare to what we actually went through. But in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9, states, "We are pressed on every side by troubles, but we are not crushed. We are perplexed, but not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but never abandoned by God. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed." That's powerful. Because that's that was 2025 in a nutshell.
Yeah. I don't know, we definitely felt crushed, a consistent weight.
Mm-hmm. That never lifted, it felt like, but
then also did. Yeah. It was weird, things were heavy, but almost you could feel that God was helping us carry that weight.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier to say this now, because when we were just looking back at pictures, especially for his celebration of life, 2025, you didn't even realize how bad 2025 was for him.
Mm-hmm.
All of the pictures are just him in the hospital, him crying, him looking so sick.
It's really sad and hard to go through. Sometimes, some days you can go look at those pictures, and other days you can't even glance at them.
Yeah.
Because it's just it was so sad to see his body slowly getting worse, the disease just taking it over. He looked different.
Yeah, he changed a lot.
A lot.
2025 physically, his looks changed. But even though things got really hard, I think, for the rest of his life, once we got through the metabolic crash, and then when he was little, those hospitalizations every month that we talked about in a previous episode, it just was a consistent decline, but it was just small things here and there that just became normalized in our life, that it was hard to adjust and accept in that moment, but it didn't take us long to adjust and accept it. So it
Yeah.
kind of just like we just carried on life.
Yeah, exactly.
But January of 25, we did a 2-week vacation in Florida. His first week was his Make-A-Wish trip to Disney, and then the second week was
We just stayed longer.
we stayed longer. We did a family vacation
Mhm.
with my side of the family, and that's gonna be a whole episode within itself because Make-A-Wish is phenomenal. Like, if you ever have a chance to donate to Make-A-Wish, please do.
Yeah.
Just
R-
being a Make-A-Wish family
royalty.
is literally it was amazing.
Yeah.
Something we'll never forget, and I'm so glad that we got to have a rush wish for him because that was kind of the last really good time with Koleson.
Yeah, that's true. He was amazing that trip. He
yeah,
loved it.
he was great, like medically,
Medically.
his health wise, like
Yeah.
he was pretty good. He was stable
Mhm.
for us to go to Florida for
Mhm.
2 weeks. But
You know, it's funny too because we were supposed to go in October, and he
got sick.
he
in
got
October
sick, and he
with
was
hypercalcemia,
yep,
and
he
was in
was
the
not
hospital.
doing good.
Yeah.
And it was scary, and we ended up driving to West Virginia to go to the trip, and ended up and stayed at the hotel for like an hour, and we got told that because there was a hurricane coming, that they were canceling all Make-A-Wish trips, and we turned around and went back.
We sure did, and this is what I mean. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he ended up in the hospital a few days later.
Yep.
He was really
yes,
sick.
we would have went to Florida and been in the hospital.
He was really sick.
And at the time, you're like, I'm gonna drive 10 hours back to, New York. Now we're mad after we just freaking drove all the way there. And God's like, you think that's bad? Well, if you would have kept going, guess what? You would have been spending your time in the hospital. So don't always jump to conclusions, I guess.
Yep, 100%.
It's crazy. That's crazy to think about. Now, I honestly forgot. It left my brain that we drove and the hurricane was coming, so we had to turn around. And thank God we did, because like you said, 3 days later we were in the hospital.
Yeah, literally.
And he was horrible.
And I think that just goes back to, like, that's why I would say in the moment, it's really hard to like mentally lay it all down to God and understand that, like, sure, we were angry, upset, we were looking forward to this, we were stressed trying to plan a trip, but guess what else? I totally just thought of this. We forgot his sun visor thing to his stroller or his wheelchair.
Yep.
We forgot that too, and
we were so mad.
We were so mad at ourselves. Like, what are we gonna do? It's sunny. He needs this. See, this is what I mean. Just everything happens for a reason. Oops. God has a plan.
Yeah.
And we don't know it because it's like on a whole nother spiritual level that we will never be able to fully understand and get the concept of what God has in plan for us. Like, as humans, we will never be able to.
100%. And I remember in the October trip, we were I was so exhausted, I couldn't drive another hour. That you had to drive back. Yeah. I don't know why. I was just exhausted. When we went in January, it just felt different. Like, it was like
it was so nice.
I just went.
It was great. Yeah, it was literally great.
Yeah, and even Jovi was great.
Yeah, because she was a little older.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that another time.
That's a good episode.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
But then let's start to talk about when we both remember when things like kind of like took a turn. It was the first camping trip in May.
Yeah. The first available when we actually start camping, or was it first available week ago in May? Yeah, I don't think it was the first weekend camping. I don't remember. I don't think that matters.
Well, like our first weekend, I mean. It was like our first camping trip of 2025.
Yep.
And our camper was stocked with like the basic medical supplies that Koleson needed on a daily. There were some medical supplies or equipment that we didn't use on the daily. It was just when he got sick.
Yeah, so at this time. Like, we didn't use it on the daily. Yeah.
Right. Like, we didn't have them with us because we didn't
need
them. He wasn't sick.
Yeah.
And I remember we were over at my parents' camper across the way. And we were in, like, the back bunkhouse of their camper with Koleson. and he just was acting weird. Like he was breathing different. He seemed uncomfortable. So you ran over, got the pulse ox, and he needed oxygen. His oxygen was a little low. His heart rate was up. Um, but he just turned so quickly, and this is
Yeah.
how Coulson was his whole entire life. Like we noticed the little red flags right away, and then it just progressed so quickly that we ended up taking him over to our camper, and it literally, in the matter of within an hour, I'm gonna say, sounded like he was drowning.
Yeah, literally.
He needed like 3 liters of oxygen. Um, we didn't have our suction. If we had a suction, we'd been able to try to suction out like the throat and his throat and nose, get anything, all that like phlegm congestion that was sitting in his throat. But we didn't have it. So you were like, I'm gonna fly home and get it.
All right.
All right.
Let's come back.
Let's there, as you can see, there was a little change in plans. So let's talk about the camper trip. So when we took him back to our camper, he just sounded really bad. His oxygen was so low. He needed so much oxygen, and it still would drop on 3 liters of oxygen. So I ended up calling you back, and I was like,
oh, because I flew.
You were flying home.
Yep.
I'm like, just come back to the campground. Like, we need to take him to the hospital. I'm gonna call 911. My mom called her NP friend to
like
come
down
and
the
listen.
road, yeah.
She wasn't far away, and it just was so crazy. We ended up calling 911 at the campground at Lakeside, and Mercy ambulance came.
Yep.
And we just knew like he needed to get to Strong, and thankfully they had a suction in the ambulance, was able to help suction him some.
All right. Another pause. Sorry. Back at it again.
Yeah, back at it. So we called Mercy ambulance.
Yep.
And they were able to like suction him. He sounded a little bit better, and you drove the van. I was up front.
Well, hold on. First off, it was wild because I remember just walking out the camper, and there was just obviously you got the ambulance, all the volunteers, and then you just got everybody in the E-loop camp of the campground, and probably other places, just at our campsite on the road, being nosy. Mm-hmm. It was wild. But
I mean, I don't blame anyone.
No, you're just like, what the heck's going on?
Right. If there's like an ambulance at a camper, of course you're like, what is happening?
It was just wild to walk out and see. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. Everyone, had to walk their dogs. All the kids were on their bikes.
It was really scary though. He literally sounded like he was drowning on his. Like he had the white stuff coming out his nose, but then they were so scared at first to do anything to him, and like we were telling him just suction him out, and they ended up taking him in the back of the ambulance, suction him out, and he sounded better. Mm-hmm. It wasn't sounding like he was drowning, but he still needed, like I think 4 liters of oxygen they had him on.
That was a lot.
Just to keep him at above 90 or whatever. But then we left, and I followed in the van, and we drove an hour to, Strong. And
I don't even know what happened that admission. We didn't stay. He didn't get admitted because the hospital and us, like, we were all on the same page. Like, we did not want Coulson to be hospitalized. We only wanted Coulson to be hospitalized if his care was more than what we can handle at home.
Yeah, which at this time, oh god.
At this time, like, he just really needed a suction, and we didn't have a suction at the camper, so we all agreed on it's probably something viral. We'll go back home. We'll suction him. We'll do all of his respiratory care. So, like, that was it. Like, we ended up going back, and we just took care of him at home.
Yep. Which at this time we had all the equipment we needed for everything. We were pretty well versed in the, Coulson's new care life that he slowly built up going from, I don't know, January 2023 to really January 2025.
For his whole life, yeah. So then that was our first hospitalization in May of 25.
Yeah.
What? This is the hard part because, like,
it was a lot of RSV. We did get or not RSV. Sorry, rhinovirus. Rhinovirus. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like just basic colds that he kept being positive for. But I think the timeline, it's hard to say, oh, this week in June, because like June, July, August, like we were in the hospital every single month, sometimes twice a month.
We tried it. We tried so hard to keep him home, but it got to the point where like, okay, like we called and be like, okay, guys, we're struggling at home. We're on day 3. He's not getting any better.
Yeah.
What should we do? Let's bring him in. I just felt like the rhinovirus was hitting him harder and harder every time he had it. Just colds.
And that was kind of like our first red flag
Yeah.
for his health and the decline in his health, because now a basic cold, a rhinovirus is just a form of a cold.
Yeah.
But that put him in the hospital every single time because it's just like an upper respiratory infection that his body all of a sudden could not handle, could not, get rid of it on its own. So his respiratory care, like for example, we had to suction him out. We had to do nebulizer treatments on top of albuterol treatments, and then he got another steroid nebulizer like on top of that. He had the cough assist. He had a shaker vest. His respiratory declined a lot in
And
2025.
I just felt like we never had him on the pulse ox throughout the day. We could just always tell by his looks, but everything just got so scary, and you felt like you were chasing numbers now. So he was always hooked up to a pulse ox. And it was probably because all these rhinoviruses turned into like a bacterial pneumonia or a post-viral pneumonia.
Yeah.
Which one was that where we saw? I think June or July.
I think June. It was the human pneumovirus or whatever that turned into pneumonia.
Bacterial pneumonia or post-viral pneumonia. Yeah.
Yeah. We were just we were in the hospital every single month asking for prayers because I think we both knew deep down that this was not a good thing to see. We're back to frequent hospitalizations. We're back to just seeing the amount of care that he needed to help him get better was a lot. And then during this time is when he also all of a sudden his like baseline vitals changed. So his heart rate sat super low. And it was scary, but we did all the tests with cardiology. He wore a heart monitor, and there was nothing wrong with his heart.
Home on the Holter monitor?
Yeah. And there was nothing wrong with his heart. That got cleared.
Yeah.
It was just, again, overall, back to his overall body and his disease, just, that was his new baseline.
Yeah.
And then he was having temperature regulation issues. Dysregulation, yeah. So he would drop his body temperature really low, like into the 95s, 93s. Like
I have a picture on my phone still of that one night he went down to 92.9, and I took him that night. I don't know if you were sick or Joey. Someone was sick, and so I took him overnight, and he was on the bear hugger. After, it took 8 hours to get on it. That was ridiculous.
Well, I think that was maybe, and one of the illnesses or the times that he dropped his body temperature really low. I think we called someone on call and we're like, should we just bring him in because he's been sitting at 93, or maybe it got down, there was that time he got to 92.9.
Yeah, he got down to 92.9. We only got him up to 93.3 after like 2.5 hours of.
Yeah, and he was like bundled up.
Yeah, he had a heated blanket. He had like 4 blankets on top of him. He was nothing.
Yeah. So that was one issue that we were always in the hospital because we were trying to figure out what was going on, why he was dropping.
Hypothermic,
yeah. Hypothermic. But then, but his heart rate and his oxygen were fine. So that's what I mean. Like, things just weirdly declined and got worse.
They were fine, but his heart rate dropped low.
His heart rate dropped low, yeah. But one of the biggest ones that I want to touch on is when we had to call 911 again.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
We asked for transportation to Koleson. And I can't remember if it was for his heart rate or I think it was like a temperature thing. And
well, we figured out with Dr. H that it was hand in hand. So we knew he's got a low.
If his heart rate dropped.
Yes, if his heart rate dropped, his temperature dropped. Because your body's going in hibernation.
Yeah. You're right. So we called 911 for like transport to Koleson because we knew he needed to go in.
I don't remember why we needed the transportation, but we couldn't do something in the back of the wheelchair van.
I think it was.
Was he throwing up or something? I don't know.
Or maybe only one of us went.
We're out of travel oxygen. And he needed to be on oxygen.
something.
Yeah.
But anyways, what we're trying to get at
Sorry.
is when Medina Ambulance came, these paramedics were pretty phenomenal. Um, they were great. But as we had the ramp at the house, the wheelchair ramp. So they bring the stretcher in the house, and Colson's hooked up to our pulse ox, so they see his heart rate sitting in like the 50s. They hook him up. He's sitting low. We're super chill. We're just like, yeah, like you just gotta get him to the hospital. Like it's like it's an emergency, but it's not like, oh my gosh, get him
yeah,
like
emergent.
yeah, emergent. But we knew he needed to get there.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think I was getting his diaper bag ready or the folder ready because we were at this time we had like a dining room table in our living room, whatever. But they said, okay, well, how far do you want us to go in the ambulance? And we're like, what?
We're just looking at you. And
Like
we're
we
just
like
like,
we're kind of like what do you
what are you
mean?
saying?
He's like, well, like, do you want us to do CPR? Like, do you want us to shock him? Do you want us to intubate? Like, we're like, what are you talking about? Like, you just gotta take him to the hospital. You don't gotta do it. He's fine. Just get him to the
Right.
hospital. And he's like, well, no, like, with his temperature being this low, his heart rate's sitting at, he's 3 years old. His heart rate's sitting at the 50s. Like, what happens if his heart rate goes lower? What do you want us to do?
Well, he said that like a typical
He's
3-year-old patient with a heart rate of 50 and a temperature of 93, I'm probably doing some
shocking
sort
and
of
getting,
CPR or restart of the heart.
yeah.
Yep.
And we kind of looked at each other, we're like, well, we don't have anything, like, legal, because we haven't fully talked about it, but, like, you know, we both knew at least don't do CPR. We don't want Koleson to have CPR performed on him because it's so, traumatic to a body that if to do CPR on him, you're probably going to break a rib, and then if you break a rib, it's going to cause metabolic crash. Like, there's a whole thing, but we were like, don't do CPR, but if anything else needs to be done, ask Dad.
Yeah.
And you went by yourself because I came up the next morning and you were still in the ED. Because when I came into the ED that next morning, I walk in to the room, you're in the bathroom, and I see a pink Mols form.
Yep.
On Colson's bed. And a Mols form is a DNI, DNR form. So I walk in, I'm like, what the heck? Like, is Koleson dying? Like, what is going on? Like, why do we have this form? But that's when the conversations were had of we really need to get something legally.
Yeah, on paper. Yeah.
On paper of what our wishes are for Koleson. Because if all of these things are happening, we don't want to have to make those decisions in the moment. And we always talked about like a DNI, DNR, like those type of conversations. We always had those, but we never felt like we were in a time where we needed it for Koleson. But he and his body showed us that it was time to have a real conversation with his care team and figure out if placing a DNI, DNR, getting a Mols form
was best for him. Yeah.
at that time, yeah.
And we also talked about the letter for the temperature dysregulation and the heart rate because we confirmed with Dr. H and Dr. Diamond that like it's okay for Koleson to be at this because this is where I don't know, that's his new or baseline.
Yes, we ended up having his palliative doctor write a letter for in case we ran into like an emergency situation, like the paramedics, or we had to call 911. We had this letter that says like, this is Colson's baseline. His temperature could get this low, and his heart rate could get this low. If there's no other major concerns at that time, like no other symptoms, like this is okay. Ask parents for like kind of like guidance and guidelines on what you should do. And we got this letter because we were like, that was so scary to have like the paramedics be like, well, you want us to do CPR? And we're like, what do you, like, we were like, no, he doesn't need CPR. So that is when we got that letter. So in case it happened again, we could give that to them. And that is when we decided to place a DNI DNR on Koleson.
Yeah.
During that admission, we had multiple conversations about our wishes for him. and it took a little bit for both of us to agree and be on the same page.
Yeah, it was hard.
It was really hard, and I'm so glad that we had the supportive care team to help us
Facts.
with those conversations, because it's not easy when you have two parents that are sitting here trying to make what feels like a decision, almost like we're the ones that have to play God and decide, yeah, save our son, no, don't save our son.
Yeah, literally.
Like
What are the
that.
situations? Yeah, I so many different situations that could happen that could lead to that, and it's just like which ones. For me, it was like I was struggling because it's like which ones do I say okay we're here, which ones are like oh this is worth trying because we've always said we don't want to do anything to Colson, only for Colson. So I don't know. I remember those conversations; they were so hard. Just getting on the same page.
I think it was harder for you.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like we had some disagreements that was like kind of hard for us, like and like I guess a part like our marriage part.
Mhm.
Um, there was times that I don't know, I guess like I don't know, like were you angry at me, like what were you feeling, because I just remember like we always like had a little bit of fights because you were just like this is so easy for you and you want me to feel this way, and I don't know, like it
I
just
think I was
was.
more angry. Like, good for you that you can be a realistic and be okay saying this. And I always said it might have been a little bit of anger, just because it's like, or not resentment, but just like must be nice kind of deal. And I remember saying to you like, are you going to be this strong when the day actually comes? Because I felt like probably at that time it just felt so easy. Um, it just felt like it came so easy to you on these conversations we were having, and I'm sitting here in my head, in my overthinking self, where I was like, how do you just say, yeah, do this? I don't. How do you just say? It's like you were saying goodbye before saying goodbye.
Mhm.
I don't know,
It
but I
was.
do think we ended up balancing each other out, being, realistic and hopeful eventually.
Yeah. And I think too, what helped both of us is that his care team made sure we knew that we can change our mind. We could shut this DNI DNR up. Like we don't have to tell people he has a DNI DNR.
Yeah.
We could change our mind at any moment because
Yeah.
it is so situational.
Yeah.
Like it was hard to make a decision based off of hypothetical
Yeah.
situations,
Scenarios.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was hard. It felt like a lot of weight on us to make that decision.
Yeah. I just felt like I was coming up with endless questions because I'm like, well, if this happens, what does we do here?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we think he's at if this happens? Like,
But it was a blessing that we were able to create the moles form that
yeah,
gave us still control
we were able to
of.
set it up in a way
Yeah.
where it was like DNR. Where if we're at that point, we know that's for sure. DNI, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was nice, and it was so like you said, supportive care, palliative care, talking through us both with this. It was amazing.
It was, and I think all said and done, I'm glad that we had that. I'm glad that we finalized a moles because it was like another weight lifted off our shoulders. Once we got through that
Yeah,
process, it was nice to have that.
yeah, it was. And reading the letter, she was like able to put all of our thoughts into actual medical terminology and like words and make
Mm-hmm.
sense. You know.
And I do want to say, since this is like a pediatric situation, um, it did have to get. There was a whole process to get a most. It wasn't just like, yeah, we're DNI DNR on our 4-year-old child. Like that's what we want. No one question it. Like it had to get approved by OPWDD, like by the state. Um, there had to be. I can't remember like the assessment that was done on us in Colson, but there was a palliative doctor that came into the room and did an assessment on Colson, did assessment on us, and they're real sly with it because like you didn't even know the assessment was being done at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you knew that this doctor was gonna come in at one point and do the assessment, but they don't say, "Oh, hi, I'm here to do XYZ for the moles form." Like he just came in, he asked questions, asked how Colson was doing. So it was nice that it felt just like a genuine conversation with a doctor instead of them questioning our,
Yep.
the decisions and whatever for the mole. So, um, it was a full like legal
Process.
process.
Yeah.
Um, Thankfully, we never really like needed it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a, oh no, he has a DNR, don't do that type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Facts. That's true. But that the question about that paramedic really started all this. So actually, thank
mhm.
God he did ask that.
Yeah, because
We
it
never been asked that. We were like, "What do you mean?"
right. We never been asked that question, but then it also was like another like we always like to say it was like another slap in the face to
Hmm.
like if a paramedic is asking that things are getting bad like we can't be blind to the decline in his
I mean,
health.
they don't know nothing about Colson, right? In his situation, what he's been through, and the conversations we had. So they're walking into a 911 call to a 4-year-old medically complex child with a heart rate of 50 and a temperature of 93.3. Anyone else, they're just like, this patient is not doing well. They're
Mhm.
probably dying. It's just crazy to think of that was Colson's new normal. That he could get there and be okay. And you and I, we would be in the
I
hospital for a week.
I was just gonna say, and Colson's care team made us realize that, like, yes, these numbers sound and look scary, but the way Colson is clinically presenting, this is his new normal. If this was you and I, like, we would be in the ICU, like, it would be different conversations, but it just became Colson's normal because his body was slowly shutting down.
But this is how crazy his body was too, and how just amazing he was. Is his body could adjust to that,
Hmm.
where we couldn't, but he could. It's just crazy to think about
Yeah.
the things he could do with less that we couldn't do with more. Wild.
It was wild.
And
We
just he just kept amazing me. Like I'm scared to death that he's about to die, or like like this is getting way worse, and he's just like hanging out,
Yeah, he
just like
always
what up,
got
dog?
he always like improved in some way. Like we were able to take him home because something was, he just got back to like
His new normal,
a new
uh, uh,
normal.
uh,
Yeah.
baseline
Yeah,
where
his
we
new
could
his new
take him home and be
baseline.
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think. Like I don't we just were in the hospital. We just kept going
That
back.
the mission after that one, I remember we handed them the most form, and they kept it.
Oh yeah, that was a whole stressful situation.
Uh,
What was like our next hospitalization?
it was probably rhino or pneumonia or I don't know. There was a lot of the one the mission he had both. He tested it was back to back, so he tested positive for rhino and metapneumovirus.
Maybe he wasn't in the hospital August, September, October of 25.
There was there was 1 month we had 2 ED visits and an admission, and I think that was September. August we had a beginning of the month emergency room visit, and then we had because we had his birthday party at the
And
end of the
I
month.
know.
I think August is pretty chill.
I think yeah.
Besides, well, he would just because we're not saying he didn't have admissions, he was still sick at home every month.
I say you're right. I think as things just kept like so we have the moles, right? I think everyone kind of knew that things are declining, but they knew our wishes were to keep him out of the hospital. So if we were worried, we would take him up to AC6, like his complex care, like the pediatrician, because they were able to see him, do lab draws, check his labs. Like we still were constantly being seen and having things double checked to him, especially his lab levels. We were kind of always checking on those, but we're gonna take a break for a second and we're gonna go lay this girl down and then come back.
All right.
All right, so we're back and we're gonna talk about the next scary admission
Can,
and
I wanted to start it off this way though. You're talking about November. I don't know. I think it was October, end of October. I don't know. I went. I was.
yes. Wait, before we talk about that, we have to say August of 2025, Colson's finally like straight Medicaid and we're ready to get in-home nursing because I don't know why. Why all of a sudden I was like, I want to go back to work. I don't know why that thought came in my head because like Colson's health was declining, but we were like, let's get nursing and I'm gonna work part time. Maybe we really like financially felt like we needed it.
Yeah, I think we were
Um,
struggling. Well, I was taking PFL days every month, and
yeah,
that's only 67%. So
so weird, but
maybe we were just struggling so much and everything. It was a lot. I don't know.
I have no idea why we decided like that was the time for me to go to work. But we did nursing interviews in August. We ended up getting a nurse in September. Our BFF Britt became Colson's nurse, and then we hired another nurse part time, Becca, who is a Golisano PICU nurse. So it was amazing to have her on Colson's care team, like
Yeah,
in our house. Um, so we had
and mind you,
nursing.
both of them are very Christian women. So it was just like, I don't know. You just knew they were meant for the job, both of them.
Yeah, it felt right.
Mhm.
And um yeah, they were working and then I started working in November. But you
Mhm.
want to talk about October-ish, right?
Yeah, I think it was end of October. I remember I went into work. I prayed about this because everything that's been going on since May, you just felt, and I knew I was battling my own demons with just how do I handle this situation of losing my son and being okay with it. Because I worked two jobs for so long, so all this is going on. I'm still working two jobs. We're camping, like you know what I mean. There was just so much time that I felt I didn't get with him, and I knew deep down that it was towards towards the end, and I remember praying about it, and that next day I went into work and I just had this thought. I was like, I just got to do it. And I went home to you that night and I said, I'm going to go talk to my supervisor tomorrow, my boss, and I'm going to try to take a leave of absence. And you were just,
I was like, okay, like
are you sure? And I was
you
like,
sure? He was like, yeah, I'm doing it. I looked into it. I could take mental health leave. I could do this, and I'm like,
I did all the things.
and
Talked to HR about it.
yeah, I was like so surprised and a little like taken back because with us being having to unfortunately be a one income family, unexpectedly become a one income family, finances and having money was like that was like your thing. You always stressed about money, and
Providing, yeah.
I get it because you were the provider for us. So when you were like, "Yeah, I'm going on," what was it, 6 weeks or something
Yeah.
like that? You're like,
Hmm.
"I'm gonna take off 6 weeks of work," and you are a supervisor yourself. So I'm
Yeah.
like, "You're gonna leave your department because when you leave your department for like a day or two, like you come back and it's like a hot mess." So I just was like, I couldn't believe that you were so confident that you were gonna take off these 6 weeks. You never once questioned it. Never once
First
did
time
you.
in 5 years, I
Mhm.
didn't question work.
Yeah, you were like, yeah, I'm doing it, and like no one's gonna stop me.
I'm telling you, God just told me to do it. And I went in the next day. My boss, she was so cool about it. I thought I was gonna have to get in like a, you know, crying match of why I need to do it, and she was all on board. She was like, "Go do it," and it was so smooth. And I'm so glad I did because November came and Britt was all good to be on her own, and I think that maybe that might have low key because we're about to start work again.
Mm.
And I remember I was home, and we got a few weeks together, and then you were about to start work, and Colson got really sick really fast that morning. And Britt came in, and I said, we were like, Britt, change of plans. We're going to AC6. Colson needs to get checked up. And you had to go on work because it was your orientation.
November 17th.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm at Brockport
Yeah.
orientation.
So, change of plans for everybody. Britt and I got everything ready for Colson. We loaded up and we went. And we brought our, oh, I remember Becca had him the night before. And we were talking about packing up.
Mm.
I think, right? Yeah, because I was, yeah, or was that the December? Maybe I'm botching that one.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure.
I don't know, but yeah, I think that was the December admission with the keto stuff. But um, we packed everything up, we loaded everything up, and we brought everything for the day and night just in case, because we know Colson, you know. And we got there, and he was sick. It was bad. But then it just got so bad so quick. Doctor H, you know, he's pretty cool about everything. He's pretty like good at handling, like not freaking out about anything. When he came back in and had look on his face on how quickly Colson got bad, he was fevering like crazy. Uh, What else was there? Oh my, there was so much going on.
I think his labs were crazy too
Mm-hmm,
already.
mm-hmm. Um, that he actually had us rush down to the emergency room,
Hmm.
and at this time we didn't know he ordered us Mert. So when we got down to the ED, everybody came up like what you got to experience at 4 months old. Everybody came up like trying to figure out what was going on, and Britt and I just looked at each other. We were like, because they were asking like, is he seizing? Is he dehydrated? I see he's on fluids. Yada yada yada. Um, I think some sort of levels had been so high because he had him on.
His CRP. His
Yes,
CRP
it was
was like
315 or something like that.
it was like he went septic.
Yep. So he put him on fluids, and we got down there, and there was so much going on. I remember you eventually were able to come to the emergency room, and he
I
was,
stayed at work. Like I remember kind of stepping out of orientation a couple times
because I had to call you. Yeah.
and like calling you guys, like making sure you guys asked this question or I had this question. Did it get answered? What's the game plan?
Yeah.
And like my work was like pretty chill. They were like, if you have to go, like you can go. And I just was like, no, it's okay. Excuse me. I wanted to finish out the day because you were there, Britt was there. Like I didn't really have to be there. I knew everything was under control. But I left Brockport and went back to Medina, grabbed bags, grabbed stuff, and then went all the way up to Rochester. Um, so I could be there. And I remember like walking into the ED and I don't know. I just like I don't know if it's like my personality, like the way I look, but I like walked in and I just was like I saw him on our home Paul socks.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Like he needs put that away, go take it out to the car, put it somewhere. He should not be on his home Paul socks when we are in a hospital.
Yeah.
Get him hooked up to the monitors. They should be watching him. The kid's like has sepsis. Like his CRP is so high. Like why are they not watching the monitors out in their little
Area.
area? Like
Yeah.
I was just like, what the heck?
Yeah, you came in raging, and Britt and I were just so. There was so much going on that we like. That was the last of our concerns, but it was actually a very high concern.
Yeah,
It didn't make any sense.
and it's one of those things that I think it comes with having the confidence in your knowledge and advocating
Facts.
for your child. Not saying that you and Britt
No.
weren't advocating,
No, but we
like,
needed that.
but like you sometimes as a parent of a medically complex child, you are so emotionally and mentally overwhelmed that you just let the doctors run the show. Mind you, doctors, yes, like they are the ones that are going to handle the
Yeah,
care
but we were used to running the show.
Right, and you trust these doctors.
Yeah.
But when you have a kid like Colson
Yeah.
or a kid that's just very complex, the parents, we are like the number one specialist in them, in that child. Like we know our child. Like the simplest red flag, we're gonna catch on to it and we're gonna tell you everything that's gonna happen. It's like we just know him so well. And that so I don't know. When I came in, I just was like, no, this and this and this and this needs to be done. I definitely was Mama Bear. I did not mess around because do you know how many times we let the ED or the doctors like make the shots and then a situation like takes 8 hours when it could have took six
Yeah.
or 5 or 4. Like I don't know.
Just get so sick of advocating. That's all you do.
It was a lot because it's like it wasn't our first time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I don't even know how many times we were in the ED that 2025.
Yeah.
And it was nice when we got the doctors or the providers that knew us and knew Colson.
Thanks.
I can't even remember her name, but
She got used to seeing us. She was the best.
She did, and she walked in, and she's like, "Okay, what's going on? What do you guys want to do?"
Yeah, that was
And I'm just
great.
like,
Hallelujah.
"Thank you, Jesus."
Yeah.
Like, I loved her. I was confident in her skills and her decision making for Coulson and his care because she trusted us.
Yep.
Like, that's how trust goes both ways with these doctors. When a doctor comes in and like they don't even read his chart, they
They don't know nothing about
they
him.
know
They're trying to tell
nothing.
you what's going
What's
on
going
or
on or
what
what to
they're about
do?
to do.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
just
hold
like
up.
Coulson's team did all the work for these doctors in the ED. They just had to sit down and read.
Yeah.
They
Everything was done.
they didn't even have to think.
Nope.
Everything you had to order was right
He
there.
even called down to the ED and put a letter in his chart. So as soon as they open it up, the flag pops up. Boom. This is what you got to do.
Yeah. But that admission was scary.
That was hard.
I think every admission we felt it. That admission was hard because he was sick. We didn't know what he was sick with. His kidney. So he was practically went. This is the thing. His CRP was so high that it would show the levels of someone who has gone septic, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Who has sepsis.
Mm-hmm.
But his vitals and everything else didn't go along with the CRP. So.
And it wasn't. We took multiple checks. This is a legit number.
Yeah, and it went so high. It took forever for it to come down.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know what's going on because his heart rate's fine for him, his temperature's fine, but he was having kidney issues. His kidney labs and all that was off, and he's like he's retaining fluid. We're trying to cath him more. It was one of those things that like
Didn't he have pneumonia too?
No.
Oh, it looked like it. I think it looked like it.
Or yeah, I think it was just so hazy because his lung health was just shot towards the end of his life.
Yeah, so it looked like it, but then his vitals were fine. So another thing.
I think his lungs just really were just not
struggling.
In good condition. Yeah. But he just was so swollen. He was retaining fluid so bad. It was really sad to just see him like this, and it was another admission of there's no medical answer for this. There's no answer of like, this is what's going on, this is how we fix it.
Yeah.
Towards the end of his life, since that was happening, we all knew this was like next stage of disease progression and end of his life is near. No one has a crystal ball to say, yes, he's going to die on this day and this month because of this. Mm-hmm. No one had that. But that November admission
solidified.
It kind of like it hit hard. And I think everyone around us knew that things are not good. Things are not going well, and there's nothing else that we could totally do to help him.
Mm-hmm.
I
remember coming home after that mission, and we were downstairs, and
mm-hmm.
his pants were so tight on him because he was retaining so much fluid and so swollen that it left marks all around his waist of his diaper, his pants. It was so sad.
And we actually took him back to the ED.
Yep.
We just went to the ED. We did more lab work, but his thyroid levels were off, and we were like so confused. And he just cried. He cried in the ED. He was so uncomfortable, and it was hard. Things got really heavy come November.
It did. That admission was horrible.
And
that month.
And we were still going to church, and we were always asking for prayers. And I remember just
every connection card was.
Yeah, and it wasn't even at this point. It wasn't even to like heal Coulson. Like obviously, we always we always pray for healing, and whatever that looks like in that moment, like whatever God wants to heal, we just ask for healing. But towards the end of his life, we just prayed for comfort and for guidance on us as his parents on what choices we're supposed to make, because it got to the point where he was tired, and we could see that, and we just wanted to make sure that God was directing us in a way that like we just were supposed to take care of Coulson. Um, and even through being crushed and being weighed down, we still reached out to God and we still listen as much as we could to what we were supposed to do and what He wanted us to do.
We're just so exhausted at that point mentally that it was just like, help us, like, we need help getting through this. We need help lifting our burdens because this is just too much for any human to handle alone.
Yeah.
And that's with us both being involved and nurses, but we also have a daughter. It's just, oh, that was horrible.
Yeah. Well, I think this episode should end on that.
Yeah, we can.
I think we're gonna have to circle back to this and finish it another time. Because this is also, I think, a lot to process for anyone listening. And the next episode might be a little harder. So, um,
Woo.
yeah, I hope that you tune into the next episode, because we're gonna share the last month of Colson's life and how God gave us peace in knowing that it was Colson's time. So
I don't think I'm ready for it.
me either, but we'll get through it. With God's will, Colson's strength, we'll get through it.
Well, thank you for listening. I hope it didn't make too many people cry or anything like that, and I don't know. That kind of helps set the standard for where we are today, like how we're doing, like how much we've gone through, and how much we've had to rely on God to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like this episode, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts. Next episode's going to be a big one. So we hope you tune in.
We'll see you next week.
Yep. All right, we made it. Good
Let's
job.
do a low clap.
Low
That was
clap.
kind of sad.